City of Westfield, Indiana Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order for July 22nd, 2020. Will the staff please note the presence of quorum?
Randy Graham.
Present.
Jim Ake.
Present.
Mayor Cook. Nope. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Next is action item number 1, the consideration of minutes from June 24th, 2020. Having had opportunity to review those minutes, are there any additions, corrections, or comments?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the minutes of our meeting, our last meeting. Jim Ake.
Randall Graham seconds that. On the motion made by Jim Ake, seconded by Randall Graham to approve action item number 1, the approval of the minutes from June 24th, 2020 as written. Will the staff please call the roll?
Jim Ake.
Yes.
Randy Graham.
Yes.
Motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. Moving on to action item number 2, Lockmiller Group in the City of Westfield Local Public Agency Agreement, East Street Construction Inspection Contract.
Yeah, so I spoke of this if you were at City Council earlier in the month, but I'll just repeat it today. We successfully bid the East Street project from 196 up to State Road 38 on July 8th. We had 5 bidders, and the engineer's was $8 million. The apparent low bid was $7.199 million, so about $800,000 under the engineer's estimate, which is always excellent. We had pretty close bids too, which tend to indicate clear scope, all those things. So that was successful. As a result, we are going to be doing construction inspection on this project. Similar, I know the board is aware that our Public Works Department has a very competent and good inspection team on staff. We do a lot of our own inspection. Because it's a federally funded project, we do have to get a little bit of help from outside on some general paperwork type items. So for this project, we'll be doing inspection day-to-day in-house, but we did RFP the construction inspection services out to the consulting world. We had 8 people respond with letters of interest, and during a scoring process, we selected Lockmiller Group as the #1 selection for this construction inspection on East Street. Because we have a very strong inspection staff in-house, we were able to negotiate a contract for $499,970. As reference, for a project that's an $8 million construction cost, you'd expect to have about $1 million in construction inspection, about 12.5% generally. But because we have such a good inspection team that is capable of doing the day-to-day inspection, we were able to save about $500,000. Additionally, because we had a good bid under the federal dollars, it's an 80-20 project, so we were awarded 80% construction dollars from the MPO. Because we had a very competitive bid, the MPO has elected to allow us to, or they have elected to contribute 80% of the construction inspection for this project as well. So really, this is going to be about $1,000 out of pocket for the City of Westfield for the inspection work. But I tell you all that to kind of brag on my team more than anything. The bottom line is this is the inspection contract to Lockmiller for $499,970, of which the MPO will be paying 80%. So we will be about $100,000 out of pocket. I would ask that you approve this contract, and we're excited to get started on the construction.
Excellent job. Excellent job. Mr. Ake, any discussion?
No, just to say great job. I echo Randy's sentiments. Fantastic, and we appreciate all you do and your team does.
Thank
you. And I would entertain a motion to approve action item number 2, Lockmiller Group, City of Westfield Local Public Agency Agreement, East Street Construction Inspection Contract.
So moved by Jim Ake.
I have a motion made by Randall Graham and seconded by Jim Ake to approve action item number 2. Will staff please call the roll?
Jim Ake.
Yes.
Randy Graham.
Yes.
Motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. Moving on to action item number 3, Clark D. City Westfield Professional Services Agreement Proposal for the Grand Junction Plaza CLOMR. And Mr. Nail, I'm not familiar with that acronym. If you would educate me, please.
I'd be happy to. A lot of times this is referred to as a CLOMAR. It is a conditional letter of map revision. It is granted by FEMA, and it has to do with floodway mapping. This is part of our Grand Junction Plaza project. We did some extensive permitting to get construction and floodway permits from the Department of Natural Resources. As part of our permit, one of the conditions was that we would provide a CLOMAR, a CLOMR, to FEMA. And what this essentially does is we've done a lot of work on Mill Street. We provide regional detention. FEMA doesn't update their floodway mapping automatically when some of these floodway projects occur. And so you have to submit a letter of map revision to show that floodways and floodplains have shrunk down as a result of some of these projects. So what this is Clark Dietz is a consulting firm that actually does a lot of the Hamilton County surveyors work. They've already done some studies on the Anna Kendall, which is the drain in question here. And so they were a natural choice to select for this CLOMAR work. So this is a contract for them to do our CLOMAR as part of our permit for Grand Junction Plaza. The total amount is $79,500, but I'm happy to report that I spoke with Kent Ward with Hamilton County Surveyor, and because his department benefits from this CLOMAR work as well, he has agreed to reimburse us for half the cost. So we will hold the contract with Clark Dietz for this, but Hamilton County Surveyor will be paying for half, reimbursing us for half. Does that answer your question? I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you might have, or if you need more clarification.
Yes, and again, I would say excellent job on the negotiation and teamwork process, saving the city of Westfield taxpayer dollars. Much appreciated. Mr. Ake, any discussion?
No, sir. I echo your sentiments again, and my hat's off to Hamilton County Surveyor Kent Ward for stepping up and helping us with this, and it benefits us all.
All right, I would entertain a motion at this time.
I move that we approve action item number 3, Clark Dietz and City of Westfield Professional Services Agreement proposal for the Grand Junction Plaza CLOMAR study.
Randall Graham seconds that. Have a motion made by Jim Ake, seconded by Randall Graham to approve action item number 3. Staff, please call the roll.
Randy Graham,
Yes.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Had to get my page turned there, sorry.
Okay.
On to
I
action.
lost everybody.
Now, on action item number 4, encroachment application Duke Energy 18818 Spring Mill Road, Lancaster.
Yes. This is an encroachment application being proposed by Duke Energy, as well as Platinum Properties, the developer, for the Lancaster residential development being constructed just south of Spring Mill Road, or south of 191st Street along the west side of Spring Mill Road. This is directly across from the west side of Grand Park, the Grand Park property. So in order to deliver permanent electrical power to the Lancaster development, that feed will need to come down 191st Street, just south of Spring Mill Road, and then cross the road, cross Spring Mill to the west side to enter Lancaster. Westfield did request an underground design, as well as we allowed them to propose an aerial design, which would include the addition of 3 new power poles along the east side of Spring Mill Road. The developer found the underground design to be cost prohibitive to their development, and they are therefore requesting the aerial design to the back of the right-of-way along Spring Mill. This will include the addition of 3 new Duke poles that are not presently there, if approved.
All right, so we're adding,
I think it's important to note that it is at the back of the right of way. So just to provide some clarity, we've got a very good clear zone in this situation. So roadside safety for these new poles is not something we're particularly concerned about.
okay, from that standpoint, this particular proposal we're looking at here, because of the setback, is something that the city would be in favor of. Is that correct?
That's correct from my perspective.
Mr. Ake, any discussion?
Well, do we know how much the additional underground installation would have been in comparison?
I don't have the figures. I was told that they would have to install a switch gear box for this development. Those are kind of the larger green boxes you see around town. An example of one is there's one at Spring Mill and 156th Street roundabout. It's a rather large box.
Yeah.
I was told the box alone was going to be $30,000, whereas they're looking at a few $1,000s to install these 3 new poles per pole versus $30,000 just for the switchgear box.
All right. Well, if the city thinks this is the best option, then I have no further questions.
All right, no further discussion. I don't have to say I'm not a fan of overhead, but in this particular situation, I assume this is the appropriate measure to be taken. So I'll make a motion to approve action item number 4, encroachment application Duke Energy 18818 Spring Mill Road, Lancaster.
I will second. Jim Ake.
Motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake to approve action item number 4. Will the staff please call the roll?
Jim Ake,
Yes.
Randy Graham,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. Then on to action item number 5, encroachment application Duke Energy 225 Spring Mill Point Drive West.
Correct. That is actually the address of the forthcoming Meyer property, the Meyer store. This particular relocation is actually along Spring Mill Road, just a bit south of where the Spring Mill Point Drive along Meyer is going to come out and join Spring Mill Road. This would be the actual relocation of 3 existing poles along the west side of Spring Mill, and these would actually move further back to closer to the back of the right-of-way.
I'm somewhat familiar with this area here, so that the northernmost pole sets on the other side of the Midland on the Westfield Steel property. So that's got to be getting somewhere near that earthen berm. So is that essentially just east of that, I would assume?
That is correct.
Okay, so this actually essentially would be a benefit from a safety perspective because they're moving further away from Spring Mill, correct?
That is correct.
Mr. Ake,
And then it would,
discussion?
No, I wanted to hear the final comment there.
ultimately though, they will come off of these poles and they will bore underground to serve the Meyer property on the east side there.
Okay, so that's how they're going to cross the road.
Correct.
And if I'm correct, we have already poles on that side of not there, but there are poles down Spring Mill, right?
That is correct. There are poles and they are situated fairly close to the asphalt. So in this case, we're upgrading the poles, but moving them further back west to the back of the right-of-way.
Okay, all right. Thank you. No further questions.
No further comment. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve action item number 5, encroachment application by Duke Energy, 225 Spring Mill Point Drive West.
Randall Graham seconds that. I have a motion made by Jim Ake, seconded by Randall Graham to approve action item number 5. Staff, please call the roll.
Randy Graham,
Yes.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Moving on to the consent agenda, normally Chief Rush likes to make comments, but I know that he nor representative are present today. So being the consent agenda, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Randall Graham.
I'll second Jim Ake.
Motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake to approve the consent agenda. Will the staff please call the roll?
Randy Graham,
Yes.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. I do not see Chief Reed on. Is there a representative from the fire department online today? Okay. And then I know that, as I said, Chief Rush nor representative will be present. They're very, very heavily involved in the interviewing process, trying to fill the open positions. We appreciate their diligent work at that. Brings us down to our last slot, which is Public Works. Mr. Nail, do you have anything on behalf of Public Works?
I can give a little bit of an update. Like I said, obviously East Street is the new exciting project that'll get started here early August. We'll start seeing some movement up there. We, from the private development side, we saw maybe a slight slowdown on some restaurant type stuff when the pandemic hit, but residential was still moving in full force moving forward, and commercial stayed pretty strong. We're seeing that pick up again. Still a lot of construction plans coming into my department for plan review. So that's good to see just anecdotally. For capital improvement projects, we have made a selection on our Little Eagle Creek Avenue widening project for a consultant. That's a new item since we last met. We are in the negotiation phase with that consultant, and we'll announce who that is shortly once we get kind of a draft contract in place. Several roundabout designs ongoing. 161st and Union, 169th and Spring Mill are moving along nicely with some right-of-way acquisitions and on schedule for those projects. And then we are starting to stick in traffic volume. I'm going to follow up with our traffic consultant for the Monon Tunnel project. They should be, they've been collecting data throughout, as I mentioned in our last Board of Public Works meeting, and they should be towards kind of a draft report for City Council on the 161st and Monon Tunnel / Hawk. It's really a Hawk system traffic study. So, the traffic volumes are slowly upticking from the pandemic. I think peak hours are still down slightly, but it's getting close to a normal situation, which is good. And so we're looking forward to moving on those traffic studies to report on some much needed safety projects. So that's really all I have. If there are any other specific questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I have nothing.
No further business. Anyone? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Randall Graham.
I will second it. Jim Ake.
Motion made by Randall Graham, seconded by Jim Ake to adjourn the meeting. Will staff please call the roll?
Randy Graham,
Yes.
Jim Ake,
Yes.
motion carries 2-0.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.